You should implement some of these strategies because with overall volume down, referrals are now more important than ever. What's happening? I'm J.C Agajanian, broker associate with the Whissel Realty Group at eXp, and we are breaking down the Monday morning mastermind as we do every week. And today we had 3 great topics that we're going to be running through. First, we are talking about building your referral business. The initial question came in surrounding a potential raffle or giveaway in exchange for referrals. After that, we are talking about increasing your email open rate. Let's not ignore the email as a solid channel of marketing in our business. And finally, we're going to be talking about how we talk to our clients about the current interest rate environment. So let's get straight into it. First one, of course, like I said, talking about referral business. Specifically, should we run some sort of event, raffle online, in person? How should we be trying to attract more referral business and soliciting those referrals from our existing past client and sphere of influence database? First, before we get into it at all, we need to realize that every state is different, and you may or not be allowed to even run a raffle or some sort of incentivized giveaway in exchange for referred clients. It's kind of a gray area where we live in California, and we know in our neighboring state in Arizona, it's not allowed at all. So be aware of your local laws first and foremost. Assuming you know what you can and cannot do in your local jurisdiction, one thing that was recommended by more than an agent or two on this morning's call was to consider couching this effort in some sort of other live and local event that you're putting on. So instead of just running something through email, through socials, through phone calls, maybe through direct mail, just talking about this campaign to increase referrals and run some sort of raffle or giveaway, consider doing all that inside of a live and local event that you're going to put on anyways, and use the phone calls to invite the people to the event as your opportunity to make a request for the referral instead of making the whole event about getting referrals from people. Solid advice. Another approach that we were given from somebody else who's actually in the midst of building a big campaign for something focused on a similar result, which is more referral business, is to go huge and not just do a simple giveaway or a single item effort, but to do something that is going to be ongoing and large. So what he was talking about doing was really building a specific page, driving people to go to it on Facebook. This is not his primary business page. This is just a group for maybe past clients, for Sphere, for people who want to take advantage of the big offers. And he is going big. He's talking about giving away 3 nights at the Four Seasons or 3 nights at a Disney experience. Like, these are big, juicy, expensive prizes that people can win. But it's not just one thing. This is going to be something that's going to be ongoing. That may be the biggest one that he's going to be giving away all year, but he is going to be surrounding this page or this group within Facebook with other smaller giveaways ongoing. And of course, he's going to be giving away value and information and other things that are beneficial to his clientele as well. He's also going to be making an effort to make connections and bring these people in this group together so that it actually develops a bit of a life of its own. Another approach that was mentioned this morning was, instead of going huge with an ongoing campaign to really stir up and drive repeat and referral business and create a new group that it lives on its own online, or going really big with large events in person, we also had another recommendation of maybe doing a micro event. Maybe instead of using every single person in your database or doing something for your entire team, do something of your own with just your personal database that is less expensive. You can still follow some of the same tenements of putting the invitations out, making the phone calls, and getting people to show up. By the way, in those phone calls, do you happen to know anybody? X, Y, and Z, A, B, C, right? And then you show up in person, and it could cost you a lot less than doing something huge, but with a smaller group, it costs less to do a smaller party, and you can get some of the same results. And if you're just an individual agent or maybe an agent with an assistant and you don't have a huge group to support, this could be just as effective for your business in the end. So when you're having these conversations and you're inviting somebody to maybe the micro event, or you're creating a group online, or whatever it is that you're doing, what do you say to these people, right? And obviously, the basic question is going to be evident. By the way, things are a little slower this year, just being real honest. By any chance, do you happen to know anybody that's considering selling their place or looking to buy? The obvious answer is going to be no, the overwhelming majority of the time. So what's a great follow-up? How do you keep that line of thought going? We've thought about it. So there's a couple great ways to keep it going. So first of all, you could come up with a specific type of buyer. Hey, I've got a buyer who is looking for, really any kind of single family. They're very open geographically. They'd be down for anything in San Diego. As long as we could stay under that $1.2 million mark, they'd be happy to take a look at it. Do you know anybody that might have something that could suit his specific needs, right? So maybe you paint a picture of something that's really broad, but is talking to a specific buyer of yours, and hopefully you actually have somebody like that lined up. So that's one way to go about it. Another way that seemed really clever and actually is doing a bit of educating and training to your past clients, your sphere of influence, your friends as well, while you're having this conversation, is when they say, yeah, no, I don't know anybody, I'm just be like, cool, I understand. Maybe think about it this way. Do you happen to know anybody that maybe just got married, or maybe just got a promotion at work, maybe someone that got divorced, or just had a kid or another kid? Typically, when people are going through these larger life events, they really need someone like me in their life, because they're likely going to have to make some sort of move in the near future. So can you think of anybody that might fall into any of those categories? Okay, great. You know what? A three-way text is actually going to be the best way to make that connection. This way, they've got my phone number and I've got theirs, and we can have a warm introduction, just like we were standing at a party and having drinks, and you would introduce me to somebody, and then you might have to go to the bathroom or get called away, and we're able to continue that conversation online. So the same thing is going to happen with that text message. Is that something you could do for me? Cool. I'd really appreciate it. So that's another great way to move past this, no, I can't think of anybody, because likely if this is someone that's worked with you in the past, or it's a friend of yours, or someone that is just in your world and they're considering showing up to an event you're putting on, they want to help you in some way. So you are helping them help you by just thinking of little ways that might be triggers in their mind to come up with that right name and say, you know what, I can send a group text off right now, no problem. That's a great way to get this thing moving. If we are going to stick with the prize of some sort, the raffle that we're going to give away, a hot tip that was given this morning was to consider using a cruise. Specifically where we are here in San Diego, we have cruise ships come and go from our main port, so people would not have to travel to get to the boat. If you live in an area where cruise lines come and go, that could be a great option for you. I haven't gone on a cruise myself before, but I've heard that you can get a 3 or 4 day cruise for pretty conservative pricing. I don't know, but apparently they're cheap, and you don't have to buy the top of the line, room with a deck and the view and all this stuff. Apparently if you just get a basic room, they're pretty affordable, and you could be presenting what seems like a pretty amazing trip. I've never gone on a cruise, so to go on a cruise seems cool to me. I had no idea they aren't that expensive, so maybe that's something to keep in mind as well. Another great tip is something that, if you've never read Michael Mayer, he's an author. He has some great books on this subject of building referral business. He's gone on speaking tours. I've actually seen him in person before. Really compelling guy. And he's got something he created, and he coined the great trace back. If you're not aware of what it is, it's basically trying to trace back how you know the person that's giving you the referral. So you start with a person who is the actual referral. You say, hey, I really appreciate so-and-so for connecting us, and I'm looking forward to meeting you, X, Y, and Z. Follow your normal protocol of meeting a new client. Then you go to the person that referred them, say, hey, thank you so much for sending us this person our way. I really appreciate it. Maybe you put a little thank you note in the mail as well, or a Starbucks card to go with it, something like that. But then you're going to keep going. So who introduced you to the person who introduced you to this client that you're going to meet? So then you trace that back and be like, hey, you know what? Just calling to give you a special thank you today. And they're going to look at you bewildered. Like, why are you calling? What are you thanking me for? Well, you introduced me to this person, and this person just recently introduced me to this person who I'm going to be meeting with about selling their home later this week, and it never would have happened if it weren't for you. And if there's another level to go back even farther, do that as well. The great trace back is a powerful way to simply stay in touch with people, to show your gratitude for something that technically is resulting from something that they've done, even though they have no idea about it at all. And it just shows that you really put value on these referrals that are coming your way, so much so that you're going to call everyone and anyone that had anything to do with it to make sure they know you're appreciative and subliminally keep them referrals coming, right? Few tips before we move on this subject. If you are not looking to just give away something, or maybe think that you could do something more meaningful, maybe find a charity that you're going to be giving money towards in lieu of a raffle or a prize. Maybe you find out if there's some theme that the majority of your clients or past clients have, like maybe there's something local that a lot of people get behind. Maybe you can choose that one and make donations towards it. And another little tip, if you are going to have those in-person events like we talked about at the top of this subject, when you're inviting people, make sure to tell them to bring a friend. Whether these are some of the micro events that we talked about or some of the big things that you're going to do with your whole company or your whole team, tell them to bring a friend. Because first of all, you might want to talk to that friend about real estate, but secondly, people are going to be more likely to come if they have a wingman or a wingwoman, right? Because a lot of times going to an event can be a little anxiety producing for some people. So to go there with a friend, they actually have somebody to enjoy whatever is being offered, the food, the drinks, the music, the fun, whatever it is, with themselves, so that they don't happen to find themselves sitting in a corner, looking around, staring at the wall. Now let's move on to email talk, and specifically email open rates. What are you gonna do to get your emails opened more often? Well, first of all, what even is a good email open rate? Do you know off the top of your head? Well, we're happy to report today that we had some agents speak up with anywhere from 40 to 60% average email open rates, which are fantastic numbers. Depending on your list and what kind of message you're giving, a lot of people are living in that 10 to 20% open rates. So somebody getting the overwhelming majority of their list to open their emails and read what it is they've got to say is a big deal, and gives us reason to listen up and pay attention to what they've got to say. So first things first, strip down the email. We need to remove email images, heavy, like megabyte wise, like video or large images, no HTML, just get rid of it all. This stuff was really big in the recent past, but it's starting to be passé at this point. Right now, people are so busy, there's so much going on, that they just want to see what you have to say and decide, does this need to be responded to? Do I need to hold on to this for future information, or can I just delete it now? Let's be honest, that's what you're thinking about when you're going through your inbox, and that's what everybody else is thinking about too. So let's cut through the clutter, give them the information they need. Are they interested in this piece of content? Let them decide for themselves and move on. There's a second reason to eliminate the bulk, because email has become so ubiquitous and so common that the email service providers, it's actually starting to affect them. Nothing is really free. Obviously, the hosting of these email sites, Gmail, Yahoo, whoever it is, they're paying for these things. There's giant servers sitting somewhere that are being paid for. So if things are bulky and heavy to deliver, and it's obviously a marketing message, Gmail, for example, may just filter that out and it won't even hit an inbox. So the lighter weight these emails are, the higher chance you're gonna have of getting through to the end user. The lower chance you're gonna have of being flagged as a marketing piece, as opposed to, hey, maybe this is just a direct email. It's all text, there's nothing to it. Maybe there's a link in there. We think we're gonna let this one go through. That's the first topic, is just cleaning up the email. Even big marketing messages, if you're going into MailChimp or Sendinblue or Emma or something, and you're taking a lot of time designing with banners and everything, just get rid of all that. Nothing wrong with using those sites to help you deliver the email, but get rid of the time and the effort and the bulkiness of designing them out. Now, what are you going to say? Well, there's lots of different things that you can say, but for us realtors who are really looking to get a couple questions answered, there's a great 9-word email you can use that is actually pretty powerful. So in the subject line, just put the name, the few dots. Hey, Joe, ... Or not even hey, just Joe, ... For the content, you're still looking for a home in San Diego. That's it. That's your whole marketing piece, right? And you can send that out to a bazillion people. It looks like something that you thought of them, put their name down, and just ask them a quick question and moved on with your day, right? Which is how we want it to look. And the same thing if you're talking about sellers. Name, subject line, ... Are you still looking to sell your home in San Diego? That's it. Maybe you have your signature. Maybe you don't even have that. It's just stripped down and simple. I haven't used this myself yet, but we heard the response rates are fantastic for these simple 9-word emails. In general, similar to these examples we just gave, you want to keep them short. You want to keep them personalized, maybe even throw an emoji of some sort in the subject line to catch their attention. And look in your settings of the email service provider that you're using to send all this out and see if you've got an option to click a button saying, hey, if this thing doesn't get opened in 24 hours or predetermined set of time, you can have it resend it to you. I didn't even know this was an option. We use Send in Blue, and I'm definitely going to be looking under the hood and seeing what sort of toggles and switches we can pull and push to optimize what we're already doing. We also got turned on to the concept of segmenting out your large list that you are sending emails to. For example, if you have a main list of past clients and prospects, and these are people that you want to sell homes to, maybe you're sending the same message to everybody. This many people opened it and either acted or didn't, and all these other people over here never even opened it. Well, we can segment out those two lists. So we've got a master list, and now we've got people that have opened this specific email, and we've got some people that haven't. Now we can see how many people got the second email from our default settings, and it will only go to this new list. It won't go to the people, obviously, that have already opened it. Then you can send it to those people and see how many of those opened it. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is just like any other sales process, get people in the funnel up top and move them down to actually take some action. And that's why there should always be at least one link in these emails asking them to do something. And what is it? Maybe you just want them to look at a social post and give it a like or something because you're trying to boost it, or maybe you're trying to get them to show up to an event like we talked about earlier. Or maybe you're trying to get them to fill out a loan application, and these are a subset of people that you've talked to about buying in the past. Whatever it is you're trying to do, let's move them in that process, and let's use segments to help us be aware of who's doing what and who's not, and get them all moving in the direction that we're trying to get them to go. We learned today about a great Chrome extension that I didn't know about before. It's called Keyword Anywhere, and like I said, it's an extension that you can put right into your browser, and you can take it and you can personalize it to create your own X amount of time newsletter campaign, right? It can be several weeks, 12 weeks, longer, shorter, but you can use it and you can create a full campaign so that you can walk people through this process that we're talking about with a more measured and a more calculated approach. Couple final tips on email deliverability. Starting out with the word you is supposed to be more powerful and more eye-catching than a lot of other things we can use in our subject lines. And, another little catch is to say somebody famous's name. So-and-so said, if you always do this, you're going to be doing this, or whatever the case. Or so-and-so said you should always do this in this situation. And I believe you should too because blah, 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 right? So maybe you or a famous name said is a great catch, an eye catch, an ear catch, a scroll stop to get things moving forward. And finally, take a look at your own inbox. See which email makes it through. See which email you actually took a minute to look at and actually appreciate before taking action on or deleting or saving for another time, and analyze it a little bit. Why did I like this one a little bit more than this other stuff that I couldn't delete fast enough? Learn from it and use some of those things in your own pieces. That's it for that subject. We're going to be moving on now to the messaging surrounding the currently elevated levels of mortgage rates. So what are you saying to people on this topic, and what kind of speaking points are you bringing to them, right? So, there's really only a few options to to physically do something about this, first of all. Before we talk about our messaging, what can we do? Well, you can direct people towards new construction if that's something that's pretty readily available in your market, because these builders are aware of what's going on in the market and they are quite prepared and ready to help with the interest rates. They might even do something to mitigate the overall cost by helping out with taxes or a prepaid HOA payment for a certain period of time or something like that. So new construction, if that's right for your client and it is something that is available in your market, might be a good way to move. Obviously, we've talked the buy downs to death, right? So you can get a 3-2-1 or a 2-1 or even a 1-year buy down. You can get your sellers to give you credit to make these things happen. And of course, there are also permanent buy downs that you can do. They're more expensive, but you don't have to use seller credited funds to do that. And right now, there are lenders that are out there pushing permanent buy downs that are helping make them less expensive, because they are the most expensive way to buy down a rate. I just received a cold call this morning from a lender trying to push a lender paid buy down. I don't know how they're structuring it, but one way or another, they're helping clients buy down the rate without having a huge extra fee tacked on to the closing costs. Great idea. Talk to your lender about that as well. Of course, there's another way to go about it, which is to maybe say, hey, we're going to get in at this rate now, but I'm your lender for life. I'm going to help you refi this when the time comes, and I'm going to either pay for it completely so that refi will be free in the future, or I'm going to help reduce the cost of that refi when it comes time to do that. That's a great way to partner with your lender to help that thing come down for less cost out of pocket when the time comes. And finally, there are government grants and incentive programs that you can go with, right? There are first-time homebuyer programs, there's down payment assistance, there are credits on your taxes that you can get. All of this is going to depend on what state you're in, but these things are available. So those are like the main ways to physically do it. But what are we saying to people about these things? That's kind of the topic and the gist of this question that came in on the mastermind this morning. So one of the really powerful comments that came in surrounds motivation, really, and refocusing of priorities. So sure, we have elevated rates in this environment right now, and values haven't really come down. So sure, those are the economic conditions that we find ourselves in, but let's remind our clients to focus on their specific situation instead of the rates and the market and the buyers that we're competing with and the sellers that don't want to put their houses on the market, all this other stuff that is truly just noise when it comes to somebody who, you know, maybe has a nuclear family that's outgrowing their place and they need more space and they don't want to leave their school district. And this is a genuine need, right? What is your specific situation, and does it make sense for you right now to make a move? That's what we need to be focused on ourselves, and that's what we need to help remind our clients to focus on. Is this a time in your life when you need to make a move? And a great way to help gain perspective on this that was raised this morning is to talk about cars. Kind of weird, but like usually people buy cars when they need them. Sometimes people buy cars when they want them because they're in a position where they can just do that, but typically people are buying cars to replace an old one that is starting to give them trouble, or maybe they got T-boned on the road like it's happened to me in the past, and the car they thought that was going to last them 2 or 3 more years is donezo. When's the last time you buy your car? Okay, what caused that? Blah, blah, blah. What's your rate? I don't know. Most people don't know the rate on their car loan. They can usually tell you what the payment is. They might be able to look up the rate in their statements, but a lot of times they just don't know what it is. And you can go into that a little bit more. Why don't you know that? I don't know. I just needed a car, and I found the best thing that was the most affordably priced, and I got it, and now I'm off on the road and it's suiting my needs. Okay, clearly a house is a lot more expensive and a lot more important than a vehicle, but why are we looking at it so dramatically different than we are something else that is maybe not as expensive, but it's still one of the more expensive purchases that we're gonna make, and it's still vitally important because it's gotta take us from A to B on a regular basis. Right, so let's take that same approach. We have a need in the form of more space, different space in a different location, less space, maybe people need to downsize, whatever the case may be. We've got this need here. Let's focus on that and how and why it's right for their family or themselves individually, and move in that direction as opposed to allowing everything else to be roadblocks for them moving forward. Another great way to address messaging when it comes to talking about rates and market conditions is to know your numbers and to know them well. For example, here in San Diego, I can't rattle this off, but it'd be great if I could. How many homes are there total in San Diego County? How many are we actually in need of for the demand of all buyers that are becoming age to buy a home? How much new construction is taking place? Like, knowing these numbers off the top of my head would be hugely powerful when I sit down to educate clients on the reason why, despite the fact that we've got higher rates, despite the fact that we've got little to choose from, you are going to be wise for making a move now because of the total amount of homes that we've got. We're underbuilt in this county. There's not that much new construction taking place. We need this many new homes that are going down. We're only going to add this many homes this year. We're only going to add this many homes next year. What do you think is going to happen with the lack of new construction, the continued increasing in people who are coming into home buying age? What's going to happen eventually? It's just going to become more and more expensive, wouldn't you say? Yeah, I agree. Okay, so despite all this, can you see how it's really the right move to keep moving forward and get you into this property or get you into this investment or make this move up, whatever the case may be? These are great ways to not distract, not to get something over on someone, but to truly educate and redirect their focus so that they're working on what's going to help themselves long term, as opposed to looking for reasons why maybe we shouldn't do anything at all right now. Share what you're doing too. If you're buying, if you're investing, if you are active or your coworkers are active in this market, share that with these same people that you're educating as far as what's going on in your local marketplace, and that will give them a little added benefit and confidence in making a move. That is going to wrap us up for today. I hope you found today's Monday Morning Mastermind Breakdown helpful, talking about building referral business, talking about email open rates, and of course, finally, talking about how we're talking to our clients regarding the current rate and market environments. As usual, of course, I hope that you found something helpful and informative here, but more importantly, I hope that you found something you can implement into your business today. And of course, I'm always here, happy to help. Shoot me a message right here. I look forward to talking to you soon.